That's the point.
He must be joining. Oh, I think he's joining quite. Oh, hi, Bruce. Great.
Hi.
Fantastic.
Jill, I need volume. Yeah.
Thanks, Bruce.
Okay.
No, how we can hear you?
Yes, I can see and hear you, Nato. I see you wearing a very nice jersey.
Yeah,
from the world champion.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
The world champion.
Yeah, I'm so proud. I'm so proud of using this jersey, Bruce.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us for this live on Instagram.
Yes, pleasure.
You know that it means a lot for us, a lot.
Okay.
I think it's the first time ever that the Comrades King is live on Instagram, correct?
Yes.
I hardly even know what Instagram is. Is it the same? Is it the same as a fax machine?
So, Bruce, this is there are already 108 people live with us. This is this is probably the second biggest live Instagram, just behind Lady Gaga.
Yeah, we'll pass her quite quickly. How many? What's her best Comrades time?
8:33.
What, Lady Gaga?
No, mine.
Oh no, I meant her time.
I don't know. So, Bruce, how is South Africa right now? How is the lockdown? Are you on level 3, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with your listeners in that I think lockdown in South Africa was a complete disaster and a mistake, and should never have happened. Yeah, and it has crippled the economy already. So I'd love to say we're all feeling very happy and we're doing a great job, but there's a lot of anger and bitterness and a lot of unhappiness about lockdown. We're on level 3, but that's still pretty strict. Your listeners and your viewers might notice that I have these long locks. We're not allowed to have hairdressers or barbers even come and cut our hair.
I know.
And I'm too frightened. I've got a little bit more hair than you, but I'm too frightened to let Jill cut it. So I'm going back to the 1980s when my hair will be on my shoulders soon. But that's just one thing, no restaurants, and for us, saddest of all, of course, no comrades, no running. I think there are rumors out that we will go down to lockdown 2 quite soon, which will be a lot better.
Oh, cool.
But we've still been in this state, we've been in this state now since March the 26th.
Okay.
And the first lockdown was for 5 weeks, we couldn't even leave our houses.
Oh,
I know.
Okay,
yeah. And I know it sounds, I don't want to trivialize the people who have died, but we've locked down for basically 800 people have died.
Oh, really?
And yet we've destroyed the economy, and there are people starving, and there are people who will never get jobs, and there are people whose businesses have gone under. And our experts told us we would have 375,000 deaths, and we've had 800.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
So, Bruce, just now we have 110 people. So for those who are entering now the live, there are 46 Comrades medals combined here, summing Bruce and I, and 9 wins.
And 9 wins between us. Yeah.
Okay. So, Bruce, as I said to you, it means a lot for you to have a live Instagram with you, with the Comrades King. The Brazilians got really excited and anxious to watch live with you, and most of them looking forward to running their first Comrades next year, because this year what was cancelled. With the cancellation caused by the pandemic, what do you recommend for those novices who had postponed their dream to be challenged by the ultimate human race?
Well, the thing that I always say is Comrades comes around very quickly. So it's very disappointing, but the time will go very quickly. And before we even know it's happened, it'll be January and then February, and it'll be time to be getting serious about Comrades. So in the meantime, just keep running and keep fit, keep the dream alive, and look to next year. Next year, as you said, Nato, it's going to be very special because it's the centenary.
Yeah, I know.
So it's a centenary year. It will be an extraordinary year. It will be a big celebration. I'm sure there will be a special medal and a whole lot of really wonderful things. And I can say, for me, even though I've hated this lockdown here in South Africa, the one good thing that's come out of it for me, speaking selfishly, is that I've managed to finish the book that I've always wanted to write.
Oh, really?
Which is a book for novices at Comrades.
Oh, fantastic.
And what I've done is I've taken my training diary from 1976, 77, when I was a novice.
Oh, cool.
And I've put down every single training run that I did, but with explanations about what was I doing, why was that a good idea, why was that a bad idea. So you can see exactly what I did back then with explanations. And then I've also put it into the context of the politics and what was happening at the time, that I was a university student. The politics, June the 16th, 1976, was Soweto riots. Shortly after I ran my first Comrades was the death of Steve Biko. So I've got all that in it as well, to kind of show how training for Comrades doesn't happen in isolation. There's also life that goes on while you're training for Comrades.
Yeah.
So
what will be the name of the book, Bruce?
I haven't decided yet, but I think I like the title First Run. I'm thinking of just calling it First Run.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And I'm sure that a lot of novices will enjoy it. I mean, maybe they won't relate to me because as I write in the book, because I chose my parents very carefully. I had the right genetics. So from the word go, I mean, my qualifying marathon was a 2:45. My first Comrades was a 6:45, so I was already quick. But you can still see the steps that I took. And I was training with my friends at my university. So we did the same things to get ready for Comrades.
Cool.
And though many of us had different abilities.
Okay, Bruce, now that taking advantage that you mentioned the first years of you running the Comrades in 1976 on, that's what I want you to explain for us Brazilians, because we don't have the real sense of what was happening in South Africa at that time. It was the apartheid, right?
Yes. So apartheid was very much in control of the whole country, the system. To emphasize, so I started training in 1976, but my first Comrades was 77.
77, okay.
And yeah. So I ran on my own for 9 months. I was too frightened to join my university athletic club because I thought they would be too good for me and that I would make a fool of myself. So I just ran on my own. And then when the new academic year started, then I joined the club.
Okay. Bruce. Go ahead.
Yeah. So apartheid was very much, it was very much alive and controlling South Africa. To give you an idea, I finished 43rd in my first Comrades. There was one black runner ahead of me, and there were 2 black runners in the first 100. That's all.
Oh, incredible!
Because
quite a few.
Black South Africans had only been allowed to run Comrades from 1975.
That's so sad.
Yeah, and also women.
Yeah, I know.
So the women were only allowed in 1975. I mean, and I think it was a lady, Letty van Sail. She won it, I think, like 9.5 hours maybe. And now you look at last year, Gerda Steyn. She won it in 5:58.
Yes. Yes.
So the women's running has, so that was Comrades back then. But also what's interesting is that I said I ran my qualifying marathon. In fact, we didn't have to qualify. I just ran a marathon as part of my build-up.
Oh, okay.
We didn't have to qualify. You could enter the day before.
Oh,
You
really?
could just go and enter Comrades.
Yeah.
And we were allowed to be seconded, looked after by our families, driving alongside you in a car.
Oh,
So my family drove
how many people in the field at that time?
2,000,
2,000.
about.
No,
About 15, 1,500 finished.
okay, so at present you have 2,000 on an A batch.
Yeah, well, there was no seeding. There was no A batch, no B batch. You just lined up at the start, and you go.
Bruce.
No Chariots of Fire because that movie hadn't been made yet.
Okay.
No national anthem. They did have the Cockerel Crow. They had Max Trimborn's Cockerel Crow.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I can remember running some parts of that race where if I looked ahead of me, I could see nobody, and if I looked behind me, I could see nobody.
Okay.
You even start worrying if you're on the right road.
Okay. Bruce, that regrettably, at that time, there was this problem of the apartheid and the racism.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it keeps going until today. You know what I'm talking about, the George Floyd case in the United States and the number of protests all over the globe. So in 1981, when you won your first Comrades, I would like you to tell everybody how was the protest you did using the black armband.
Yeah, so what happened in 1981 was that the government celebrated, they wanted to celebrate 20 years of apartheid nationalist rule, and that because they had been in power for 20 years with the system of apartheid. And so they had parades and military parades and jets flying and lots of politicians talking. And they also had one or two sporting events to celebrate it. And unfortunately, that included Comrades. And so some of us who were unhappy, a lot of runners withdrew from the race because they didn't want to be part of. There was a slogan at the time that said, "There's no cause to celebrate." We were celebrating 20 years of apartheid, but everything that came with it. That sporting isolation, we couldn't compete in the Olympics, we couldn't compete in any sport overseas, and so we wanted to show our displeasure. So what some of us did was we wore black armbands. We had black armbands on which we wore to show that we did not support this celebration of apartheid. So that was 1981, and unfortunately for me, it was my first win. The first time I won Comrades, so I put a lot of extra pressure on myself.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, if you're going to make a stand like that, it only occurred to me afterwards. If you're going to make a stand like that, there's only one position you can finish, and that's first. Because if you don't finish first, everyone will say, "You see, the little commie, he didn't win."
Yeah.
And so I did win, but the people in the crowd, the spectators hated me. A lot of them were booing me, and I had eggs thrown at me and tomatoes thrown at me. So I wasn't a very popular winner.
Okay.
I wasn't the only one who had an armband on, but I was the most prominent because I won.
Okay.
You know, so there were others in the field who were also running with armbands, but they weren't as visible as I was.
Okay, just let me say just a few names of very special friends who are watching us right now. Miguel Neto from Cape Town, Craig Wisey, the Australian boy from the Unuguaja, Zilma Rodriguez, the Brazilian green number, Sidney Tarzan, my friend, Michel Raposo from Guarapari, Brazil, Maureen, Levi Carvalho, Luis De Luca, my big friend, Leandro Carvalho, some South Africans here, Fefo Marcondes, who are celebrating his birthday tomorrow, Graco, Frank, Edna Evelyn, Edna Bruce. You met Edna at the night of my book launch in Sao Paulo. We had dinner with her. She seated in front of you, this beautiful lady, short lady, and she showed you the Boston Marathon medal she just got. Remember?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And then we had some nice dinners there in Sao Paulo.
Yeah, and
great crowd.
This was
when I told everybody the story of meeting the Queen.
Yeah, that was fantastic. So this is Edna. Edna is not a friend for me. She's a special sister.
Yeah.
So a lot of people here. It's difficult to say everybody's name, but thanks everybody for being live with Bruce and I. So Bruce, moving on.
Yeah.
Okay, so in 1990 years of the Comrades Marathon Association, it's the first ever virtual race they are organizing next Sunday, with distances varying from 5Ks to 90Ks. So everybody can run virtually wherever they are. So
yes, that's right.
We now have over 18,000 entries and over 900 from Brazil. Were you expecting such a phenomenal global?
I wasn't. To be honest, I really wasn't. And really? Like with all these things, I'm a little bit slow when it comes to new ideas and virtual races and whatever. So I didn't really pay much attention to it until this last week. And I think they're going to go over 20,000. You know,
definitely. And the Brazilians today or tomorrow will hit the 1,000 mark.
You're apart from South Africa, yours is the biggest entry of any other country.
Oh yeah, definitely. We are 3 times United Kingdom.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
Amazing,
that's incredible. Yeah. That's incredible because from our side, most of the Brazilians, and mostly because of you, Bruce. You don't know that, but mostly because of you, because you are a big idol for us. And
okay.
Yeah, and you're an influencer for many Brazilians to start running and to run the Comrades. Not only you, but Herda Stein and Camilo Rivera. Yeah. So we are pretty sure that today or tomorrow you will hit the 1,000 mark, and I think by next Sunday, maybe 1,200 entries from Brazil.
That'll be amazing. Yeah, huge. That will be
huge.
What distance are you running, Nato?
21, half marathon.
21. No, I know you're going to do the 90. I know you're doing the 90.
I'm not. No. I'm running 21. I'm fine with the half marathon.
Yeah, I'm doing 10 with Jill.
I saw you and Jill doing 10, and Cara doing 5. 10,
yeah. Cara will do the 5. Yeah.
That's fantastic. So here in Brazil,
and our son Jonathan's in London. He's going to do the 10, I think.
Oh, cool! I haven't seen his name so far yet.
I don't think he's entered yet, but he will.
Oh, fantastic!
We'll remind him.
Yeah. So are people in South Africa excited about the virtual race?
I mean, they are. You know, obviously everybody's very disappointed that there couldn't be a real Comrades. There's some really, really disappointed people. But I think everybody understands that whether or not you agree with lockdown and whatever, you can't have 27,000 people all standing together at the start.
It will be impossible.
So it's not going to happen. Yeah, it's just not possible. And then a lot of people were hoping that when they postponed it, that maybe we could do it in September or October. But I think we'll only just be starting to recover then. You know, it still would not be time to have a major race.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it was really impossible. As far as I read, South Africa is closed his borders to tourists by the end of the year.
So I think we'll probably have international travel again towards the end of the year, but it would be too late for having a Comrades.
Oh, shame. Yeah, and not only the Comrades, but also the economics as well, with the economy as well, right?
Yeah, the economy's been hit very hard.
Oh, shame. Yeah. So let me jump to another question, Bruce. So in sports, there are many stars, true idols we have. In Formula One, for the Brazilians, number 1 is Ayrton Senna, no doubt. On swimming, we have Michael Phelps. On basketball, we have Michael Jordan. On tennis, we have Serena Williams, Federer, Nadal, and Djoko. On surf, Kelly Slater. On football, Pelé, Rogério Ceni from São Paulo, and Marta. And on ultramarathons, there is just one name for us, Bruce Fordyce. Bruce, your marks are...
Thank you.
Yeah, that's true. Your marks are simply phenomenal. The 9 wins and also the 8 wins in a row are incredibly outstanding. Perhaps in 100 years to come, nobody will be able to repeat it. I know you well enough, Bruce. I know how humble you are. However, do you have the real consciousness of the myth you stand for and also the importance you had and we always have for the Comrades worldwide?
Yeah, thanks, Nato. I feel embarrassed when you say those things. There's a big difference between me and all those other names you mentioned. There's a difference called the dollars. There was no prize money in my day. So yeah, no prize money. So I'm afraid all of them, those great names that you mentioned, they're all very wealthy sportsmen and women, but not me. But I'm wealthy in the terms of the friendships and the experiences that I've had, and as you know, Nato, to finish Comrades is a very emotional thing. To win it is even more so. You can't describe to somebody to win how amazing that is. But just to put things into perspective, remember Elena Nogalieva, the Russian lady.
8 wins.
She won 8. Yeah, and she got a bunch of second and third places as well. So it's not impossible for somebody to do what I've done because she nearly did it herself. In fact, if you add up all her seconds and thirds, she's probably close, to what I've done. So it is possible that somebody else could come along and do it, but obviously it's hard. It's the race is getting more and more competitive. Yeah. And it's going to be hard to do that, yeah. Especially in a row, I think.
Yeah. In a row, it's quite almost impossible. Not impossible, but it's very hard to achieve something like you did. So Bruce, taking advantage that you mentioned the emotion of finishing the Comrades. Most of you know. I mean, most of the guys who are watching us right now know how this emotion is. Some of them dream to have this emotion. But the only one here who knows the emotion of winning this race is you. So people ask me frequently, what's your most remarkable medal? Normally I say that it was my 10th because of the green number.
Yeah.
And for you, Bruce, which of the 9 wins was the most remarkable?
You know what's hard about that? It's like asking a mother who's got lots of children, which one of your children is your favorite child? Because there's the naughty one, there's the nice one, there's the, so they each for me have a different place in my heart. So obviously 81, winning the first time, and I broke the record that day, and because of my political stand at the time is very important. But all of them, I mean, 82 was the hardest Comrades I've ever run racing against Alan Robb. 83, I was so strong. It's as I say, they're all like my favorite children. 86 was probably, tactically, I never made a single mistake. I did everything right on the day. I ran as fast as I could. I never made a mistake. It was very, for me, a very satisfying race. So yeah, they're all
So you can say that 86, when you broke the record that extended for 21 years, it was almost a perfect race for you.
Yeah, because I was in the right place at the right time all the time. I knew how the other guys would run, and I made sure I didn't lead, and I didn't go into the lead until 45th cutting, and 45th cutting on the down run. It's 8Ks to go about. So I didn't go into the lead, but I was kind of leading. I was controlling the race all the time, even though I wasn't in the lead.
Bruce, sorry, just to mention, yeah. Luis Massin is live, is watching us live. Hi, Luis.
Okay.
It's an honor to have one guy with 47 Comrades medals watching us right now.
So now we've got a few more medals in the. Yeah. It's one of those. When I'm with the guys who have done so many, and I've done 30, and I feel like a junior sometimes. If I've only done 30, I'm like a novice, a beginner.
If we combine you and me, we are still behind of Luis Massin and Barry Holland.
Yeah, just a few. Yeah.
So Bruce, let me ask you something that I haven't asked you before. When you are running the some of the 9 wins you had, at certain point of the race, you knew that nobody could catch you up?
Yeah, some of them. So I'm trying to think. So 1981, when I won my first one, when you're running the up run, you know where the chicken farms are, just near Umlaas Road,
okay,
the highest point on the course.
So 18K.
So I had never won the Comrades then, but I was in the lead, and I turned around. I had a look over my shoulder. You do that, you go straight up, and then you turn right, sharp right, and there's a chicken farms there. So you can have a look back without looking like you're having a look, you know? So, and I looked and I saw Johnny Halberstadt was second that year, that he was only just starting that long road. And then I realized, whoa, he's a long way behind me, you know? So that was good. And then 83, I won by 15 minutes, you know? So when I got, it was also up, when I got to the top of Polly Shorts,
15,
my seconds, I won by 15 minutes.
That's a lot.
So I did 5:30. The next finisher was a runner called Gordon Shaw. He was 5:45.
Okay.
So when I got to the top of Polly Shorts, my seconds said, we waited for 10 minutes with our watches and nobody came.
Oh, that's incredible.
So then you kind of know. I mean, you can never, with Comrades, you can never say you're going to win until you hit the line, because anything can happen. You can cramp. As you know, you can get a terrible cramp and not be able to move. But I sort of knew.
And at that stage, Bruce, at the chicken farm and the Umlaas Road, were you running about 40 minutes per kilometer, or 4 minutes?
No, 3.5.
3.5. Oh.
3:35, yeah, 3:40 maybe.
That's incredible.
So, and yeah, that was the thing. In 83, I was very strong. 88 also. All of them are up runs, you'll notice, because the up run is possible to open a much bigger gap on somebody. The down run, the gaps are always a bit closer.
Why?
So the down run, yeah, I was only ever confident that I was going to win down run when I went in the stadium entrance, you know.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah, because the down run is tricky. Up run, you see the thing with an up run, if you, like in 83, when they told me we waited for 10 minutes and we didn't see the second guy. I was already over Polly Shorts. So that means that the second runner hasn't even started Polly Shorts and you're over, which means they just can't catch you, you know, because Polly Shorts doesn't matter how fit you are, you go up Polly Shorts very slowly, you know. So that meant that I was just going to go at that stage.
Another question, Bruce. Out of your 9 wins, it was any of them that you had to walk?
No, I never walked in any of them. No, you can't. You can't walk. My first Comrades, I walked for the first time on Polly Shorts. But what I did was you know, they've got those lampposts going all the way up Polly Shorts. They've got the telegraph lines going up Polly Shorts. So I would run one lamppost, walk one lamppost, run one, walk one. But after that, no, you can't walk.
Oh, that's amazing.
You'll lose too much time.
Yeah.
Though actually one of my heroes, when I started running, one of my heroes was Bill Rogers, who he won 4 Bostons and 4 New Yorks. And I've got a fantastic photograph of him. His first Boston, he won 2 hours, 9 minutes. And he stopped to tie his shoelace and to have a drink. So I've got a photograph. He's bending down and he's tying his shoelace. And then about 2 miles later, he stopped because he was running so fast he couldn't get a proper drink. So he actually stopped and had a drink. But then he's straight back to like 3 minutes a K, you know.
Bruce, another interesting question. When you were leading, when you were on the front pack of the race, the leading pack, I mean, did you use to talk to other competitors?
We did a little bit. You know, there was always a little bit of chatter, and also it's quite sporting. Like if the guy next to you misses getting a drink, or there's a sponge, he misses a sponge, you will use your sponge and then hand it to him. You know, it's not cutthroat like that.
Okay.
And occasionally we definitely used to talk a little bit, but not a lot.
Okay.
But I remember Alan Robb, the one down run, 1982 down run, Alan, we got, you know, as you know, Nato, the distance markers go backwards. It's the only race that does it like that. Other races, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in kilometers, but that's the Comrades goes 90, 89, 88, 87. So we got to 56 Ks to go. And there was a group of about 10, 12 of us running together. And Alan said, okay, guys, we're on the start line of the two oceans now.
That's great.
Bang. Then suddenly there was just 4 of us because the guys suddenly realized, we're starting two oceans and we've got 56 to go.
Oh, that's cool. So Bruce, on the next Comrades, the 95th edition and the centenary, you have to hand over the green number to my friend Craig Wisey from Australia, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, he's watching us. He's watching us. He's a very big friend.
Oh, okay.
We've done the Unoguaja Challenge together in 2015, and he's running his 10th next year.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Yeah. So the way the green numbers work is that there's a group of us who take turns to hand them over, you know, because it's all day. People are coming in for green numbers. So if somebody wants me especially to give them their green number, they must just ask. So because I will come and work for half an hour, let's say. Then I go and I get a drink, something to eat or whatever, and come back. So if somebody wants me, they must just wait, you know, if I'm not there at the time. But we work through the whole day doing the green numbers. I mean, there's a lot of green numbers now.
Okay. Bruce, reading the book about your journey, the Bruce Fordyce, the Comrades King by John Cameron Dow. He mentions that on your 9th win in 1990, it was very tough for you at the end of the race because you are not leading in the stage that you used to be winning. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so when you asked me which are my favorite Comrades, you know, and I said to you, there's the nice one, there's the fast one, and there's the naughty one. 1990 was the naughty one, because that actually that's when I knew I was not going to win again, because in contrast to 1986 when I was in control, 1990 I was in control of nothing. The guys were gone. I was slow. I didn't feel great. I remember I felt like my drinks were sitting here under my throat the whole time. And I actually gave up. I thought I'm going to be second or third, because Mark Page was leading. At one stage, he was 10 minutes ahead of me. You know, he was 10 minutes ahead of me, and I wasn't even second on my own. There was, between Mark and me, there was another runner, Jetman Sutu. Jetman was lying second, and then I was running alongside another runner called Mishak Radebi. And the two of us were running together, and Mishak was stronger than me. I could feel he was stronger than me. So I thought I'm going to be lucky to be second or third here. And then everything happened in the space of like 1 kilometer. In 1 kilometer, first of all, somebody told me, no, Mark Page is now 4 minutes ahead of you, not 10 minutes anymore. And as they told me that, Jetman Sutu was in front of me, and he just walked off the road. He just walked off the road like he'd had enough. And then at that exact moment, Mishak fell back. And so suddenly I was second on my own, and what had been 10 minutes behind was now 4 minutes behind. And then the bottom of Polly Shorts, Mark was 2 minutes ahead of me. And then when I came around, you know, in Polly Shorts, it's got that bend in the beginning, and then it's got that long middle bit that just goes straight for quite a long way. And he was near the top, but I could see he was walking. And so when I saw that he was walking, I said, okay, now I think I've got him. But at the end of the race, my sister, who lives in London, she had never seen me run Comrades. She came out that year to watch the race, and they put her in the VIP vehicle to watch. And so when I crossed the finish line, she was one of the first people to hug me. And she reminded me, the first thing I said to her was, I'm not going to win again. Okay. I knew. I was just too many times in the boxing ring, you know, my speed had gone.
Okay.
And then, well, it's a funny one. My running friends, about a month later, my running group, they took me for a run, a 15K run. We were all running. And for 15Ks, for over an hour, they lectured me. You were useless. You were in the wrong place at the wrong time. You gave the race away. Then they gave it back to you. Oh, you were useless. Then when we saw your winning time was so slow, 5:40, we thought, poor Bruce, he must have nearly died. He must be in the hospital tent. And then we saw you drinking a beer and we looked at you like, what's going on here? You were useless. And then I said to them, guys, but I did win. And they said, yeah, you did win, but you were useless. You were. They just lectured me.
Too slow, 5:40.
Yeah. 5:40. Oh, yes, can't believe you ran such a bad race, they said to me.
So, Bruce, you drank a beer after the race?
I can't remember. Yeah, you know, but what they meant was that they thought because my time was so slow that I must be nearly dead. That I must be nearly dead. And then they saw me smiling and laughing and talking to the press, and they said, what are you doing? You were being lazy. They just said to me.
Because we have a friend that he drinks before, during, and after the race. His name is Krakra. Say
okay.
Repeat with me, Bruce. Vamos embora.
Vamos embora.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's Krakra, a very special friend.
Yeah, but in the old days, when I ran my first Comrades, the numbers were made of fabric. You know, they were cloth numbers. And my friend Mike Applewhite, he used to sew his number in the front into a big pocket. And in the pocket, he would put his biscuits and his cigarettes and matches. And at the top of every big major hill, so you know what they are, Fields Hill, Bothers Hill, Inchanga, at the top of all those hills, he would have a cigarette.
But to smoke a cigarette during the race?
He had 5.
Oh.
He used to have one at the top of every big hill. If it was uprun, one at the top of Cowie's Hill, one at the top of Fields Hill, Bothers Hill, Inchanga, Polly Shorts. He would have a cigarette.
Which one for which of the big 5?
Which?
Well,
one for each of the big 5. Yeah. Mike, he always smoked.
It's crazy guy.
Yeah.
Bruce, my friend Luis De Luca, he asked about how is your knee and if you are able to still keep running long races.
Yeah, no, my knee is bad. You know, I don't have any cartilage in the right knee, but I've run. I mean, with this knee, I did 2 Oceans twice. I was a guest speaker in India last year for the Indian Comrades runners, and I ran Mumbai Marathon, but all of them very slowly now. So I try to stay away from the marathons, and I'm still running. Yeah, but if you're running next to me, you can see I'm limping, but I'm not in any pain. Okay. There's no pain. It just doesn't work properly.
Okay.
You know.
And what about the Comrades number 100 in 2026?
You know what? I must just check whether Jill's here listening or not. She will say definitely not. No. And when she's not around, I say maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Maybe, and also by then, who knows? Maybe I will have had an operation or something, sort my knee out a bit better. And the one thing I do agree with is, I don't know if you know the Roger Federer syndrome, which is that Roger Federer took a break from tennis. I think he took a year off, 18 months off.
Yeah, I remember.
And when he came back, he was so strong when he came back that he won a couple more majors. I mean, I think he won Wimbledon one more time and whatever.
Australian Open.
Australian Open. And I actually believe that does work, and it works probably even more for us runners because we really hammer our legs. So that if I came back to run another one, having not run for quite a long time, I might be quite strong. And I'll tell you who's a good example of that is Sean Micklejohn. Sean, he won Comrades in 1995, and then I think he ran 20 And of his 20, every single one was either a silver or a gold medal with one win. And then he told his family he's retiring. He didn't run one step for 6 years. And then he saw a photograph of himself with his stomach sticking out. And he felt so bad that he said to his wife, I've got to start running again because I look terrible and my health is suffering. And he came back after a 6-year break. And he was running 6:45, silver at Two Oceans. And he winning the Masters, winning the Veterans. And I think that's because he took that break.
Yeah.
So maybe, you know, for me, it might be the same. And it'll be hard not to. The only thing is, you see, if you don't run and you're a past winner, I'm not going to lie to you, the Comrades is a wonderful ego trip. You know what I mean? Everybody wants a photograph with you. Everybody wants autograph. And if you're running, you have to look after yourself. As you know, you've got to go to bed early. You don't want to go to the expo for too long. You just go and get your number and leave. If you're not running, you can do all the cocktail parties. You can do all the functions. You don't care what time you go to bed, you know, so you can enjoy Comrades. Whereas if you are running, you don't really enjoy Comrades because you're too busy running it.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned Roger Federer. You know that during the quarantine, he's not training. He said he's not training. He's not doing any tennis, nothing. He just want to restart training after the quarantine. I mean.
Yeah, and you'll probably see he'll be strong again. He'll probably win another major.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. He's phenomenal.
having given his body a break. Yeah.
Yeah. It's for us. It's a privilege to have our what we are living. We can see the top 3 tennis players on male tennis players: Federer, Djoko, and Rafael Nadal. It's fantastic to see. Yeah. What a privilege! What a privilege you have.
Yeah. They are. It's an incredible era.
Yeah. Bruce, when you had the 1989 World Championships in Stellenbosch.
Yes.
When several, Europeans and lots of very, very good contenders went to South Africa to challenge you, or for you to challenge them, or the other way around. Did you feel that you could not win that race?
No. That one. You see, the thing with the 100K race was that we had been telling everyone the South Africans are the best in the world at ultras. But actually, we were running Comrades and Two Oceans very well, but none of us had actually done 100Ks, which is the standard distance. And so the feeling was, let's prove that we're the best in the world. Let's get the best runners to come and let's race them. You know, so, and that race, unfortunately, was just in very hot conditions. It was very, very hot. So it's the first time I've run a race with the first 5 home. We were all in the hospital tent together talking about the race. All of us on the drip, with the drips hanging down, and we're talking about the race. But I'm glad I did it because I got a good time for 100Ks. I won. The South Africans proved that we were very good because of the top 5, only one, Jean-Marc Pollock from France, was in the top 5. The rest was all South Africans. And it was a good experience to run 100K.
Fantastic. And currently, Bruce, during this stage level 3, I think, on the lockdown, can you go to the streets to run, or you have to stay in your house?
No. Now we can go to the streets to run, but we couldn't when we were at lockdown level 5. We couldn't. I wore a path around my garden, round and round and round and round. To get 5Ks, it took me an hour because I had to do so many turns. And then what I would do is I'd turn around and go the other way around. Otherwise, one leg's going to get injured. You going turning on the same leg. So that was very frustrating.
Yeah.
But now we can run anytime or cycle or whatever, but not in groups.
Oh, okay.
So
and
I run with. Sorry, I've just got some virus.
No problem. And wearing masks.
Wearing masks. yeah, wearing masks, and just no organized races.
Okay, okay.
You know, I might, when I'm running, I might see another group of runners, 4 or 5 people coming past me the other way, but it's not a race, and yeah.
Okay, just let me say the names of some friends who are watching us right now.
Sure.
Luiz Paulo Volpe, Luizinho, my big friend. Mário Sarrubo, grande Mário. Dionísio Silvestre is o Quelônio do Cerrado. Kleuber, grande Kleuber do Deep Running. E também Matheus Verminose, da MPR, e também o Marco Costa, La Pergunta. So, Bruce, now going back to the Comrades, the Legends, that's interesting. The question I'm going to ask you is very interesting, because one of the motto of the Comrades, the Legends, the race the Legends, is to race against a legend. But you are a legend yourself. Who are you challenging to race, yourself or some other legend?
No, so I wrote a thing saying I'm going to teach that English expression, that whippersnapper. I'm going to teach that young guy, what's his name, Fordyce from the 1980s. I'm going to give him a hiding. But I'm not really. I don't. You see, I've got no idea how it actually works, because I think thousands of people will beat me because I'm on next Sunday, because I'm going to run with Jill. So
But I think, Bruce, when they say race the current legends, you are racing at the time you use it to win, not today, not.
Okay.
So we can race. Okay, we can race B. Rowan in 1921, for example.
Okay. So then but I still don't know, how will they extrapolate? Like, if you're doing the 21, how does it work if you're running a 21, but Comrades was a 90?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how it works, but anyway, it's fun. The main thing is it's just keeping Comrades alive, and and people. And then the other fantastic thing about it is that the entry fees, some of that money is going to the charities, which they would have suffered terribly because they would have got nothing this year. So that's very good that the charities are getting the money.
Bruce, one very interesting question from Miguel Neto. He's from Cape Town. He's my big friend. He's a hat trick on the Unuguaja. And currently he's recovering from a bike accident he had. Hopefully he was wearing the helmet, not like Rodrigo. The question is, did your training change a lot over the years as you won more, or did you have a formula which worked throughout your career?
Yeah. It's a good question. No, I had a formula that worked. So not counting my first 2 years, my first 2 years of running was just, I wasn't really that serious. But my third year of running, 1979, I came third. And I knew, and I had a training formula then, which basically remained the same for the next decade. Except that a little bit, you change a little bit here, like you say, okay, maybe I need a little bit more hill work, or a little bit of that, but I didn't ever change it too much. And that's one of the commonest mistakes that people make. They have a great Comrades, and then they think, wow, if I train even harder, I'm going to have a better Comrades. And guess what? They don't.
Break.
They break. They get in. And I know what it's like, because the pressure, especially if you're the winner, if you're Gerda Steyn now, or you Edward Matiba, you're thinking, wow, I won, but now I've got to defend the title next time. I better train really hard. Actually, you don't. You train the same. Why did you win? Because you got it right. And so that's what I did. I more or less did the same thing every year. And I kept that. That's why I've just done this book. Because the one thing I did from day one was I kept a very detailed training diary. Who I ran with, what I felt like, what the course was, how far, how fast, everything down there. And so then I could look at it and say, okay, that's what I did last year. And guess what? Last year I won. So let's just do the same thing. But I would change it slightly. For the down run, I would do a little bit more gym work. because the down run is about the pounding you take running down all those steep hills. So I would spend a little bit more time in the gym, but the training was more or less the same. Same number of long runs, same pace, same 2 weeks to go, run a cross-country race or a 10K just to see how fit you are. It was always the same, yeah.
And Bruce, did you use it to coach yourself, or you have an advisor?
No, coach myself. There were no coaches back then. So yeah, I coached myself. I would in the very beginning when I first started running at my university, the guys who had already run Comrades, they tell you what to do. They give you advice, but then you take your own program and you mold it to yourself. So I was self-coached. And in fact, I don't think I'm a very good coach for somebody else. I've never thought that people ask me for advice, I'll tell them what to do, but I'm not a great, I don't think I'm a great coach for somebody else. I knew how to get myself, they say I could never say that I was going to win, but I knew that I would run 5.5 hours. So I'm going to run about 5.5 hours. Okay. If you can go faster than that, you might beat me, but I am going to do 5.5 hours. I knew it from my training.
And Bruce, are you currently coaching somebody else or not?
No, not really. Anybody asks me for some advice, I will give it to them. I gave Jenna Challenor some tips last year, and she came 6th in the ladies, but she has her own coach. Sometimes over the past few months, Anne Ashworth, who won 2 years ago, she might phone me and say, Bruce, should I do this or should I do that? And I'll talk to her, but I'm not her coach,
Okay.
So I'll help anybody who wants it, but I don't have the time to stand at the side of the track and time all your track sessions and all that kind of thing. I'm not going to do that.
Okay. So Bruce, we're very close to the end of our live. Just a few mentions. I would like to say hi to some friends as well who just entered, such as Salete is here, Giuliano, and Adriana and Renato Schwartz are here as well watching us. Adriana and Renato, you had dinner with them at that Italian restaurant. They are very close.
That was my best. That was my best evening. That was such fun.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Isn't it amazing how running is an international language? You can be there with English-speaking people, and then Portuguese-speaking people, but everybody understands what's going on because we're all passionate about the same thing. And that's what I love about the Comrades. Yes, I was fast, but we're all equal. When you're in there, you're all equal, and the main thing we do, I've noticed as runners, is we tease each other. You know what I'm saying?
So Bruce, before giving to you for you to say the last words, I just want to thank you a lot for having this time with us. It means a lot for us. And also I'd like to send a big hug to all my friends plus Adriano Abramovicos. So Bruce, you have 1 minute to say the last words to the all Brazilian community and some guys from other countries who are here. There is a friend just a friend from Colombia, Mario Mezaran from Colombia. He's watching us. Thank you, Mario, for watching us.
Okay. Yeah, just to say, I'm talking to the Brazilian runners now. Of course, I've always enjoyed my trips there. Hope I haven't had my last one there, and lots of great friends there. And I was really touched. I think it was 2 years ago when you got all the people to do the Brazilian football chant for me, or whatever. That was wonderful. Thanks. I've never forgotten that. And just to say, listen, the time will go quickly, and we'll all meet again next year, around about this time, for probably one of the most special Comrades of all time, because we will have missed our favorite race so much.